The power of pickleball is truly incredible. This all started with a chance encounter. In life, it's said you must take a shot. This is the story of Third Shot Pickleball. I'm Mickle Moore. It's the Pickle with Mickle interview series. 0, 0, start. So, welcome to the show. I am super excited to have both Max and Adam on the court with me from Third Shot Pickleball. But guys, we can't go any further. Super exciting news breaking across the greater Denver area. I'll let you tell it because everybody's excited to know this big award, very prestigious. Max, Adam, I'll say congratulations, but let everybody know the big news for Third Shot Pickleball.
I'll let Max tell you because he's the one who helped us earn it.
Yeah, I think you hit a nail on the head there, though, Mick. I think as far as everyone in the nation is probably concerned, the Best of Westward Awards is pretty much the premier one. And so, yeah, 2 years running, we have won Best Place to Play Pickleball. So, yeah, we just found out.
Super exciting. Very, very cool because humble beginnings, we just started this thing about 2 years ago. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We've been open, a little over, coming up on a year and a half. Yeah. So it's been very exciting.
And we definitely
coincided well with 2 Best of Westward seasons. So we've had 2 chances in the year and a half.
You can't beat that. And so, I mean, and now the competition is going to be coming on your heels fierce. So you got to keep things lively, exciting for the new season ahead and many more to come. And I certainly want to hit on that. And I want to hit on some of the super expansion that you've had already. First, though, this wouldn't have been possible without a gentleman named Rick Witskin. And also the fact that, Adam, you were out there in Glendale playing, competing, NPL Combine. Let's just talk about that for a minute. Were you on your game that day? How are we feeling? Have you gotten the call yet?
Those are great questions, Mick. So I had a really good Saturday at the Combine, and it seemed to gather the attention of several of the owners. My fingers are crossed. I heard some very positive words from a couple of the owners and anticipate that I should get drafted. But, there's a lot of good players out there and a lot of good competition. So, and there was a second Combine in Houston, and I'm sure there was a lot of talent there too. So,
yeah, I think 3 total combines this year for the NPL, which is just incredible. And you're right. I was able to stop in just for a minute. The competition looked fierce, and glad to hear that you had a good day. Let's hope you get that call. Would this be the first time that you played NPL, or were you in it last year?
No, it would be my first opportunity to compete in the NPL.
All right. Just another thing to, hang up there as the award-winning Third Shot Pickleball is the best place to play pickleball. Hey, home of, right, NPL superstar, Adam Kahn. I mean, it's coming. And so, Max, when you're on the court, what's your pooper?
What's my what?
What's your duper? I call it the pooper.
The pooper, all right. My duper actually went down as of last night after a less than desirable league performance. I'm 4-2 something. So
okay, hey, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I hover around that 3 area.
Max is a lefty, and you can't tell from him sitting there, but he is he's 6'5".
Oh,
so it's hard to get a ball to bounce in the kitchen in front of him with that length. I'll tell you what.
I think I could tell what the fans probably don't know. It was the primping session. The very quick. I mean, I could tell already. Just he's probably very nimble up there at the kitchen, cat-like reflexes, because he was able to just leave, come back, looking great. So we're tall at the kitchen. Plus, we're a lefty for crying out loud. All right, hey folks, you need to get to Third Shot Pickleball. Are you doing lessons there in your facility, or is there somebody else who's doing that? Or as the GM, do you kind of help out with lessons?
A little bit of all of that. Mostly the latter, though, helping out with lessons as needed. I have a pretty strong teaching team. Love all of them. They're wonderful, players themselves and teachers. You need to check both boxes, I feel like, to be an effective instructor. And we're fortunate to have a lot of those folks who are far better at both teaching and instructing than I am. But those folks also do need time off. They get sick, whatever. So I fill in there, certified to teach. So it's not total mayhem when I step out there. I've got I've got a nice repertoire of jokes that I like to pepper in there. Whether they enjoy them or not, you're going to get some
You get it. You get the humor
opportunities. Yeah.
and everything that goes with the full package. Well, let's back
Mhm.
up to how this whole thing got started. Because Adam, certainly you had a background in running a tennis facility there for many, many a year, owner, operator. My crack research team did a little of research on Max there, who's got some retail management experience. Did I see you were a recruiter of bud tenders there in the greater Colorado area? So I don't know how we'll mix that into the pickleball game, but hey, anything's open game. But how did you guys come about and meet and get this?
This is going to blow your mind, Mick. You'll never believe how we met. Playing pickleball.
Get out of here.
It's actually a true story. Both of us out at Apex playing with our significant others. And as anyone who's played pickleball has probably noticed, it's more fun to play doubles than it is to play singles.
Depending on how old you are.
Sure. Yeah. Either way, it was a
And
hot
neither of
summer
us,
day. So
yeah, I don't think either of us remember who invited who, but yeah, we were on two adjacent courts, and either Max and his lovely wife Shelby or Pam and I, one of the two asked if we'd like to play, and we started playing, and he kind of hit it off, and exchanged numbers and met a few more times to play, and Max had no idea I owned Meadow Creek Tennis Club. And I had no idea he had interest in being an owner operator of an indoor pickleball club, and
yeah.
another pickleball friend in common connected us, and then then we realized, well, wait a minute, we know each other.
Yeah. I already have this number in my phone. Your friend Adam. I know this friend Adam.
And so this
So
wasn't like a prearranged pickle date. You guys were out playing, and then one or the other's like, "Hey, come over here, let's play a game," and here we go.
yeah,
Yep, exactly.
we hit it off. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
I
again,
always
had no
say.
idea, he was involved in it. I noticed he was good at pickleball, and that, as my wife and I were getting into it, no matter how hard we tried, we could never get more than a point or two ahead. And then all of a sudden they would score several points in a row and they'd be comfortably back in the lead. So it all clicked when
Here comes the ringer
Mr.
over there,
Paddleboard.
right? Future NPL champion, maybe player of the year this year. We don't
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Yeah. He
From
was
your
taking
mouth
it
to
easy
God's
on
ears,
us.
as my mom would say. Yeah.
and so let's take it back even a step further than that. As what, 20 years that you had Meadow Creek, a tennis facility, when did pickleball start to enter the picture? And did you start to really maybe give this pickle thing a little bit of a shot?
That's a great question. So we were one of the early adapters of pickleball, and how that happened is my older sister, who was also a competitive tennis player, and I was a competitive junior tennis player. I was going to visit her in California, and she was telling me about this new sport that she was avidly playing multiple times a week, and she was going to, teach me how to play when we got there. Knowing that my older sister had never beaten me in any racket sport, I decided I better learn how to play this game before I went to see her. And
No way. So you could go out there and sandbag your own sister?
absolutely. So I looked up where it was going on here in Denver, and went to the Apex Rec Center, which is in Arvada, and met this nice older gentleman who is an ambassador for the sport in Colorado, Pickleball Ken, he's lovingly known as, and played some drop in a couple times. I watched YouTube videos. I wanted to make sure I was prepared and I could whoop up on my poor older sister when I got there.
Classic. Just classic. I love it.
Yeah.
And so Pickleball Ken, is he still pretty prominent out there in the area?
Say that again.
Is Pickleball Ken still pretty prominent out there in the greater Denver area? Does he pop by Third Shot? Does he play
He
a Third
is.
Shot?
His health is failing him a little bit. He's in his 90s now, so he's not playing anymore, but he's still involved in the community for sure.
Awesome.
But so that's what got me interested. And then after playing a few times, I realized that it was such a fantastic sport. And so, as I said, I was one of the early adapters. We started putting tape down on our 3 indoor tennis courts at the club, and converting that to 6 pickleball courts, and starting to do open play a few times a week. And it grew and grew and grew to where the numbers were pretty overwhelming. And I realized there was enough demand. We should really look at opening an indoor pickleball exclusive club in Denver.
That's incredible. And so I bet 6 courts there just taped off. And like you said, the people started just to come and come and come as pickleball was gaining all this popularity. And so the shift to build a full-time indoor facility, shifting over. Max, when did you get pickle fever?
So my story started in high school in the early 2000s. We played pickleball in gym class, and it was not love at first sight.
They
I
didn't
always tell
play
people,
pickleball in gym class when Adam and I were in gym class, a long time ago. They just didn't.
a lot of people say that Iowa is ahead of the curve, and this is just another example of it. So it was in high school in Iowa playing pickleball. We at the time didn't believe it was a real sport. It was literally, we lowered the badminton nets down to the floor, played it on the gym court with the badminton lines, with basically big plastic ping pong paddle things and a wiffle ball. We literally thought he just was looking for a unit and just combined a bunch of stuff into a casserole of a sport. And honestly, that's a lot of people's experiences with wooden floor pickleball, is that it's not love at first sight, which is why the rise of indoor pickleball clubs have been so successful and so prevalent in all sorts of different states, is just because it's such a great experience to play like that. And yeah, like many people, like the huge surge when you look at the popularity trend for pickleball, the huge spike was after COVID, and so our neighbors were they had the fever, so to speak, and they were hounding us, let's play. And I just kept remembering gym class and being like, I thought badminton and volleyball were more fun, and dipped our toes back in the water. And yeah, went from, hey, we'll play it once a year until we retire so we can play it. And then when we're retired, to we're playing 5 or 6 nights a week, to opening pickleball clubs, in multiple states. So it's, that love for pickleball, I feel like, has been prevalent through this entire process. Probably why we clicked so well with Adam and Pam, because they also love pickleball a lot, and
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
easy to
I
do it
think
when you love
the
it.
Absolutely. I think the passion exudes there. And certainly when I had a chance to meet Pam, you see that right there. Let's talk about the fact that we opened back in 2023 with the primary location. And now we have, is it two others in the Denver area? We've gone to Reno, and our next location is going to be in Indianapolis. Do I have that right?
You're very close. So there's
Yeah.
two operating locations in Colorado,
Okay.
and then Reno, Evansville, Indiana are the other two
Okay.
operating clubs. Indianapolis will be grand opening April 20th. Soft
Cool.
Nice.
opening about 2 weeks before that. And we just signed a lease on a third location in Colorado, which is going to be 16 courts. So it'll be our largest club to date.
Because today, currently, do they all follow the same model, or do some have 9 courts where Westwood, right? Or what's the area in Colorado?
Wheat Ridge is where the
Wheat
current.
Ridge. Is it 11
Yep.
courts there?
We have 13 there, and
13.
then our
Okay.
Longmont club, which is about 40 minutes north of that, has 8 courts. And a lot of that is real estate dependent, right? You don't want to build a 50 court, although I see in some states people are building stuff that big, former shopping malls, whatever. Um, and obviously there's some economics to not going so small. They have to be able to, have enough courts that you can get groups in there, or perhaps run leagues and that kind of stuff. So a lot of it does depend on that real estate, though, because there's a lot of variables that go into finding that.
And perfect segue, because already in our talkings, it didn't seem like either one of you really had the commercial kind of hunt and find real estate background. As you're building, expanding a pickleball empire now with Third Shot, how do you go about identifying the right land, the right city? Is there some word of mouth through the community that says, hey, this might work over here? Certainly in your backyard there in Colorado, your feelers might be a little, I could say, closer to the ground, so to speak, than as you expand into a Reno, or you're already in Evansdale. And, maybe the partnership alliance with Rick helps a little down there in Indy. But for people who are going to listen, who have these pickle dreams of opening their own facility, right, their own pickle places, talk a little bit about that and even some of those challenges.
Sure. Yeah, I can touch on that. I feel like our expansion has been about people and first, and then an underserved market second. Those are, I think, the two first, or the two biggest criteria that we've looked at. And so we had the right person in Reno, we had the right person in Evansville, and we have the right person in Indianapolis. So that's knew we had a really good owner operator partner, which we refer to as a champion in those locations. Then we researched the markets and also agreed that they were underserved and could really use indoor pickleball clubs. And then we started seeking real estate in those areas.
Good people, bad weather. That's what we're looking for.
I found some spots that are certainly going to benefit from having indoor pickleball in the non-summer times. I mean, we benefit from that here also in non-summer times when it's 80,000 degrees, and we're trending up that way right now. What
Sure.
what I also like is what I've seen on the website is how within those communities you're also partnering with some, local eateries. Let's talk a little more about that. I mean, you got a picture of that burger on the one website. I mean, people are just going to come to get some of those burgers and play pickle afterwards, for crying out loud. But I think that's important.
For
And
sure.
talk.
The Longmont Club, we partnered with a restaurateur who's been highly successful in his career in both breweries and restaurants, and he's fallen in love with pickleball as well, and so it was a perfect partnership. And he built out a Chub Burger restaurant in our Third Shot Pickleball Club in Longmont, and it's become quite popular. It's got a cool, funky vibe in kind of the bar restaurant area, thanks to Dale. And that partner we're referring to is Dale Katechis. He's the founder of Oscar Blues Brewing Company. A lot of people might be familiar with because his beer brands went national. Dale's Pale Ale was one of his primary products.
I do know Dale's Pale Ale for sure. Well, that's
Dale is our
is that
partner.
a continued focus because each club has kind of the bar slash food restaurant area, and do you continue to look to maybe for those kind of partnerships?
We really got into this wanting to be a pickleball forward business, and have the best playing experience that we can provide, but not really be in the restaurant business. And so we decided to do the restaurant in Longmont because of our partnership with Dale. The other locations all have bars as well, but they're just kind of light food, not the full restaurant like we have in Longmont.
Okay. Hey, makes sense. I mean, because and Max, you might be able to speak to that from some of more of your experiences operating more of a full restaurant versus the ability for people to grab a beer or a drink afterwards and maybe some light snack type of things is much more of an endeavor than you might have initially wanted to lay out to or have to maintain constantly as well.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, having a background in restaurants and bars and hospitality and all of that, those are all individual businesses in themselves. You can make the case that you've got your programming, you've got your club reservation stuff, private events, pro shops. There's a lot of different revenue streams and things to be managed anyway. To us, adding a restaurant in there wasn't so much a lack of knowledge about them. It was perhaps so much familiarity with them that we were saying, hey, let's not roll that complexity in there. Because you can put a bucket of pickleballs on the shelf and it'll sit there for a year and it'll be just fine. Most things in a restaurant that you put on the shelf, inventory wise, will not exactly. So you
Right.
got to be on it, and that has to be something you're passionate about doing, or it's not going to be successful. And since our passion was predominantly centered around running pickleball, and having a good in environment afterwards to have a beer and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's where the initial focus is. We'd love to have more offerings in all of those things, but it's finding the balance between the two, because the more avidly people want to play pickleball, the less they want to have a rack of ribs afterwards. And so it's
Certainly
it's
not
it's
before.
finding that.
That's a full disclaimer. If you come in, hey, there we are not serving this before you play, only after.
Yeah, yeah,
That's it.
it's
The
easier on
courts
the
are
court
difficult to
if you serve it
clean. Let's
after.
be real.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, and speaking of the court itself and the surface that you use on your courts, can you talk about that and how the selection involved for who you used or what surface you're using in your courts as you continue to grow?
Sure. Yeah. So we're predominant. Well, let me rephrase that. We're exclusively using Lay Cold as the court surfacing product. It is the surface that they use at both the tennis and pickleball U.S. Opens, and I think they're clearly the leading, the industry leader in providing the best quality court surface material that you can get. Another thing we've done differently, Mick, is we, coming from a tennis background, and virtually every indoor tennis club in the world, it seems like, uses divider netting in between the courts instead of
Yes.
fencing. We feel like netting is a better way of separating the courts. They're taller, and so you get way fewer balls from your neighbor's court or you hitting balls into your neighbor's court. But also, we feel like from a safety perspective, if people run into the netting, it gives and moves. And if you run into a chain link fence, get your finger stuck in there or whatever, it can hurt you. So.
For sure. And I noticed that on the website. I appreciate you bringing that up. Let me cross that off my list because we got there. But because even when I've been on some of those indoor courts, you mentioned some of the, the shopping mall effects, and we had Pickle Mall out here, opened one of their first places, and it was great. And what I did like is, their little kind of mini, dividers because you could step over it. But then to your point, almost like a fence that you can bang into. You find yourself, you got to step over it, and you're preparing to kind of make this move. Where that net, you move into it, it's moving with you. You know it's there. You can still see people on the other court. Plus, the balls aren't flying all over the place, which is great.
Yep.
I
We
like
get
that
a
a
lot of
lot.
positive feedback from customers about our netting, for sure.
Very cool. Well, I bet you got a lot of positive feedback with that clinic or however you put on there, and we're able to get Riley Newman up there, one of my favorite pickleball players. Let's go back
Great.
and talk about, Max, you led to league play, programming at the different Third Shot Pickleball locations, how important that is, right? Keeping the passion in the pickle. And I'm sure that's going to go for players of all abilities, of course, players of all ages when it comes to pickleball. That was pretty cool. Who might we see next around Third Shot Pickleball?
I don't even know who we'll see next. One of our local organizers actually has one of his favorite pros lined up. He said he hasn't told me who it is yet, but we're front of line to host them next. So
Okay.
I don't even know who it
You
could
don't know
be.
yet.
But we've always got lines in the water. It did hurt Denver's stock a little bit once the PPA Tour stop here dried up, so to speak. Before, all the pros were like, yeah, we'll do camps before, we'll do camps after. They'll be in town for that type of thing. Now that there's no stop here, we catch pros coming here for other reasons, coming here specifically to do clinics, like Rick Witzkin will be at the end of, not next month, but the month after in May. Pros driving through, going to places like Utah, going to places like Arizona, stuff like that for tournaments. So a little more lean in these parts, but I'm as giddy as the next person that we can get pros to come through here for a clinic. Again, we love watching them on TV and stuff, and following them. So having them here in real life, is a blast, and we'll continue trying to reach out to more pros and folks who are interesting.
And
We had Dirk Bentley come through over the summer. He played at Red
Very cool.
Rocks, and he played some pickleball before that. I happened to mention that to Riley. I don't want to say I was bragging, but just trying to be cool, like we have other cool people come through. And he said, that's really interesting. 3 years ago, Dirks flew me down to Florida where they were at the time, and I taught them how. Not that they didn't know, but he put on a camp, a clinic for them. So Dirks is Riley trained out there.
Look at that,
And
right? I mean,
we call him Dinks Bentley because I've got on video, and we just posted on Instagram him hitting an ATP. So he can ball. Yep.
it was a good ATP
It
too.
was a good ATP. Yep.
Yeah,
but it wasn't just like a
and
chance
then,
shot. He hit it. He got it.
He hit
yeah.
it on his bandmates as well. So there's some extra savoriness there. Yeah, it was a legit ATP.
I'm telling you, this pickleball thing is across all areas of sports, entertainment, politics. It's everywhere, right? The trash talking on the court, I can only imagine between the members of Dirks Bentley. And just look at Newman having to top you as you tell him that the guy was playing pickle in your place. He's like, time out. I taught the guy, all right? He flew me
I
down.
assure you, wasn't like that. Riley's a really humble, really nice guy. If anything, it was just like, that's a crazy thing that you mentioned that, because this is just how small and connected and just fun the pickle world is. It's just
No,
everyone is literally doing
Newman's
it. So
great. He made some time for me when I was first out in Vegas, just getting introduced to pickleball. If I see him at a tournament, I get a little bump. Great guy. Love to just bust his chops a little bit out there. Having a lot of fun
we
with both
really,
Max and Adam from Third Shot Pickleball. Go ahead, Adam.
we really enjoyed Riley. His personality, both on and off court at Third Shot, was exceptional, and both clinics he did were full, and everyone that participated had great things to say about it. We also had Connor Garnett out here, and similarly, just what a nice young man, and did a fantastic job.
yeah,
So we're looking forward to the next surprise guest, Max.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep my my little needle on your website to see the big reveal, right? This is bigger than the Masked Singer. People, stay tuned to thirdshotpickleball.com. You're gonna find out the next pro that's gonna be coming by.
we'll see. We'll see. I'll even be finding out soon. So
That's
it's a
right.
big
You
reveal.
don't even know yourself. It's so big. It's too big to be revealed. Now, I've
Indeed.
seen glow in the dark pickleball at my, local clubs, at the club I'm a member of. What kind of next gen innovations might we start to see at Third Shot Pickleball? Do we have any ideas? Anything that we can toil for the people? By the way, a toiler is part teaser and spoiler.
Sure. We do blacklight pickleball, so we do
Ooh,
already do that. That's fun. We've got that. I think at all the clubs are doing that now. I think our most recent addition has been the Save My Play replay cameras. So now people can record entire games or little highlights, and that platform uses a lot of artificial intelligence to automatically snip out the dead spaces in
okay.
that. And I know, obviously, if you watch professional pickleball, one of the biggest issues they're having right now is line calling. People calling lines and having a good
Really?
system for calling out balls. They're still calling their own lines, and yes, it's just it's insane for a pro sport. And I think you're going to see AI starting to be utilized more for that. There's the Swing Visions. There's a few of those brands out there that have kind of those tools that are tracking top spin on balls and speeds and where they're landing. And so I think that could probably be the next thing that you'll see Save My Play rolling out is something that we can employ within those replay cameras. Is not only having the footage, which is super helpful for our pros to use when going back and looking at players' games, doing video reviews, giving people things to take home from lessons that they can use as a tool down the road. And then I'll tell you, it's just fun to have little highlights that, if you look at our Instagram, there's all sorts of little clips that, people have sent that are them playing their best pickleball lives out there.
That's right.
I think that's an interesting thing that we'll see, coming down the pipeline. I'm trying to think what else, Adam, that we can share at least at this stage. There's always ideas, but I don't want to say things that we can't, end up make happen or are going to take us 2 years to pull off.
Oh, I'm in software sales. You can tell us everything.
Exactly, exactly. I don't know.
But
I
go
think
back
I
to
think
what you
we'll
were
see.
just saying, though, in regards to, there's always been the Cyclops machine in tennis to beep if the thing goes out the line. I'm very surprised, even in this stage of pro pickleball, either tour, PPA, APP, when MLP comes around, that we still have to call our own lines, even though we've got umpires out there that should be staring at the lines as well. You brought up an interesting point, too. I think just as a way to enhance the game for people watching it on the streams and screens, which Pro Pickleball is going to need to continue to draw more people in, of course, very different than your facility is. Like you just said, that data, a slow-mo replay with a tracker on the ball, show me a spinning ball with spin speeds and things like that, miles per hour, little things like that, right? The TrackMan in golf, apply some of that to a replay in pickleball. You're going to have more eyes on the screen, I think. Ideas. The tech's out there, just got to figure out, I guess, the best way to apply it.
Sure. And unfairness, injustices in sports of all things are like the most intolerable. If you remember the replacement referees for the NFL many years back, and a couple of those games that they just, I'm sorry to them, they just blew.
Hacked.
People were enraged, just enraged. And you've seen a few of those things kind of happen with pickleball now, where some flagrantly in or flagrantly out balls getting called, and just
Isn't that
it's
why
not a good
players
look for the
took the calls
sport.
back? I mean, I guess umpires were calling the lines, players took it back, and now we're still having just squawks about this and that and the other thing.
Yeah, primarily the umpires, they call the foot faults in the kitchen. If they can call other lines, that's great. But your field of vision is so limited when you're watching for toes that looking another 15 feet to the right or the left is asking a lot. In volleyball, and soccer and stuff, they have side judges. You can add more referees to it. You know, there could be financial issues to not do that with 4 or 5 courts going at once, needing that many more umpires. I don't know fully, but obviously the
Yeah.
solution needs to be resolved because all
Well,
the
For
other
sure.
sports have them. So it'll get there.
Exactly. And I foresee that pickleball will potentially follow the path that tennis did, which is, right, you've got judges on the baseline that are calling the baseline. And then in the case of pickleball, you probably want someone on each kitchen line. And then your actual referee can be overviewing the entire court. But if you have people on those specific lines calling the lines, you can be a lot more accurate. And then, of course, tennis now has gone to full electronic line calling.
Yep.
So I can see pickleball progressing in that same way. Maybe with
Yeah.
technology where it is now, it'll skip the humans and just go all the way with electronic line calling.
Yeah.
I don't know. We
Volleyball's
got
got one called
robot
Hawkeye.
cars out here, and we keep the humans behind the wheel. I mean, next time you come to Phoenix, take a Waymo.
I wish there'd been more robots driving when I was in Phoenix. There,
Did you see the Waymo? That's right. You were just out here. Did you see the Waymo when you went through the airport?
I was amazed at if you're not going 80 miles an hour on the freeway, someone's going to run you down.
You're getting
It's
gang signs. They're giving you gang
it's
signs, and they will. They will
they
run you right
are.
off the road. That Max, this is serious stuff out here, buddy. Just be careful when you come.
I can hardly wait.
Yeah, I don't know when it happened, but 80 miles an hour has become like better be going that fast. And there's no
Yeah,
lane discipline. I mean, you just better be going.
It's
that's
called
it. Yeah.
fluidity.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there aren't traffic laws out there. There's just traffic guidelines,
Suggestions.
Yeah.
suggestions.
Yeah.
Here with Max and Adam from Third Shot Pickleball, having a blast. You guys have had incredible growth. We kind of skipped over it a little bit, but what about in plans to buffer or competition as it comes? I know around here, as I look across the landscape of pickle places, we got Center Court Pickleball, the Picklers here, Electric Pickleball just opened in Tempe. There's the Pickle Space. Now, again, Phoenix is a very, very large, sprawling out city as well, but Denver's no mom and pop store for crying out loud. And the surrounding areas where you're going certainly can support you, might start to attract some other folks as well. How do we stay ahead?
Perfect. You want to touch on that, Max?
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to as
I
well.
mean, for us, it's, coming from a hospitality background, cleanliness and friendliness, to boil it down to two simple principles that we feel like we can always be improving on. And, if you can lock those two things down and provide a good pickleball experience, which we feel confident about, because we're pickleball players and a lot of the decisions we made in the club, we're based around, if we're going to play here multiple times a week, which we do, what would we want it to be like? And do you want to do this, we want to do that, and certain things definitely cost more money, but if they overall provide a better experience, we think that's worth doing. And so yeah, if we can have a quality experience that's capped off with clean facilities and friendly people, we think that's a winning formula in pickleball, in airports, you name it. That's a good situation. Give them a good product with a friendly face, take care of them, anticipate what they need, you know, and for us, that starts with our team. Our internal team is a big piece of that, and having quality people and training them well and treating them well. And we think if we treat our team really well, they'll treat our guests really well. The guests will treat the business well, and that's the healthy ecosystem there. That again,
And then those
it's a
guests
formula
start
you
to
can
tell
apply to a
other
lot.
people, and more people start to come as well. I mean, that's as you know, the best way to build is through word of mouth, through soft referrals out there from people who have been to your place, who are playing. Then you get people who just stop into town. They're going to play some pickleball. They're coming over to Third Shot Pickleball. Adam, go ahead. I know you wanted to add some things in there.
No, I mean, I think Max hit it right on the head. It's about customer service. It's about treating people really well so that they have a great overall experience. And just in these last couple of weeks, I have heard over and over again as I talk with customers that even though there are some competitive clubs that have now opened in Denver that are much closer to their homes or their place of work, they're continuing to come to Third Shot because of the way they get treated there, and they feel like we're the place they want to be.
That's
Very,
great.
music to our ears to hear that. I'm gonna leave my chair for a moment and close my window because that sun that's hitting me here is getting really hot. I'll be
All right, yeah,
back in a
go
second.
go get it. Go get it. I don't know about hot. I don't know if you can use that word in the greater Denver area the way we can use it down here in Phoenix, but that's okay. We'll get the sun out of your eyes.
A mile closer to the sun in the sunlight does do some crazy things to the temperatures. That's
Oh,
that's
for
definitely
sure.
sure.
Even when
You
it
can go
comes
into the
just
shade here and it
coming through the
cools
window,
down.
it's going to get you for sure.
Yeah, it was getting mighty warm. I'll go away from the hot word. I agree,
Well,
but
you're
it's
not in
getting
the
awfully
hot
warm.
seat. At least that's the good stuff. And we're having a lot of fun here. We talked a little bit about the future. We talked about the present. We talked about how it all started. Let me give you an opportunity to talk a little more about that club experience because there's memberships, there're going to be leagues, you have paddle rentals available. When it comes to memberships, are there tiers to memberships or is it just kind of one size fits all? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, coming from 20 years of operating the Meadow Creek Tennis Club, I felt like our formula would work really well for Third Shot Pickleball also. And so, rather than lots of different tiers, which can be a little confusing to the customer, we went with a more simple formula where, you're either have a guest membership that's free, or you're a club member and you get a bunch of discounts and benefits and privileges by being a club member. The only caveat to that is we also offer an annual membership option that's further discounted. So there's a monthly membership, an annual membership, or you can come play at our clubs as a guest as well.
Okay. And that as a guest, I could come at any open play, quote unquote, or is there always open play windows throughout the day?
For sure.
Great
And we do
question.
those oftentimes, most of them are by specific levels, which we've found that people are preferential to. We do have some multi-level open plays as well, but we think people prefer being able to play with people with more similar ability levels in the open plays. So Sunday nights we have a advanced and an expert open play, 4.0 plus, and then 4.5 plus required duper for the expert open play, and it's the place to be as a highly advanced player on a Sunday evening.
I bet. And so back to how this all started, a non-pickle date that turned into some pickle play between Max and Adam and their significant others. What is the now all-time scoreboard when these teams get on the court these days? Have we continued?
This might surprise you, but we're so busy with the expansion and operations of Third Shot that we have not had that competition. So yeah, we're not keeping score.
All right.
Yeah. It's been a little while. Adam and I have probably played the most recently, but I don't know when the last time we got all four of us together to play has been.
Were you warming him up for singles out here for the combine? Were you guys playing a little singles?
I don't play a ton of singles. Again, it's probably been a few months maybe. Adam's got a group of guys he plays with fairly regularly, and I get the call to sub in every now and then with that group. That was probably the last time maybe.
Nice.
Here and there, when we go to openings of new clubs and stuff, we'll hit around with some of the local folks too.
We had a lot of fun in Reno for the grand opening or opening preparation, and played with a bunch of local guys out there. And we had to show them, it'd be the Colorado versus Nevada.
You got to come Colorado Flex, right?
That's it.
And so I noticed also there's EULA representation there. What kind of paddles do you guys play with? I just always like to ask.
Sure. I'm a Carbon guy through and through. They've been a great company and really good to me, and proud that they're providing me some product to play with. And
go Carbon.
And they're kind of a smaller family-owned company, as you probably are aware, but that new True Foam Genesis paddle that they've come out with, I believe is the best paddle on the market.
Right on. Nice plug for Carbon, and I've got a lot of friends that play with Carbon. Go ahead, Max.
I was saying Adam plays with the 3, by the way, of which of the 3 True Foams he plays with the 3, right? Aren't you
the Third Shot, of course.
Of course. He had to switch just for that reason. I was playing with the Pro XR prototype prior to the new generation of the 4th gen Perseus coming out. Every time the new generation of Yola comes out, I always try them because I know everyone's going to be interested in them, partly because I want to see what it's all about so I could talk about it, and partly because one of these days I'm hoping that I'll become a Perseus fan. Like, obviously it's a great paddle, Ben does amazing things with it. I've just never been able to channel any percentage of that till this most recent one. I've been a big fan, and I've been playing with that one, and I'll continue to play with it probably for a little while, but due to the nature of what I do, it's good for me to be semi-nomadic with paddles. So every few months I've got to be trying them, and it's probably not great for my game, but I do like to talk paddles with people, and nothing is less engaging than like, I don't know, I haven't hit with that one yet. And for me, it's Christmas every time those orders show up, so I'm ripping through them and getting out the demos and
keeps it a
lot
of
them
fun
in people's hands. I want to hear what they think about them.
Because obviously, again, in your role, in both your roles, people are going to ask you, and it's important to be able to tell them, hey, I've hit with this one, that one, and this one, and you might like this one, and here's why I like that one for my game. And there's so many paddles that are out there. A great plug for Carbon. Nice little plug for Yule over there by Max. Now, this is the point in the show. You better take a deep breath. If you need to get up and stretch, want to. All right, because we've reached the time for the speed 'em ups, right? This is like a little hands battle. even though I'm just kind of serving them to you. And so, since there's two
This
of
is where
you,
the questions are in Pig Latin. Is that what you said?
I can't go that far. Then nobody would watch my show again if we tried to make them feel smart. So,
All right.
because there's two of you, I kind of had to tweak up my style and focus in on things with pairs because there's two of you. And so we're thinking around things that are duos or in pairs. I'll start you off with just a softball as I always do. So, current favorite pickleball pair, pickleball duo. Max, you go first.
I'm a big fan of Ben and Gabe. I'm just excited to see what happens with that. I was shocked to see the brothers break up, but so I don't know if I'm supposed to explain it or if I'm supposed to hit you with a quick
No,
answer. But
you're good like that. Adam, go.
I'm going to go Ben and Anna Lee. I'm going with the mixed route.
All right, I like it. Can't go wrong. Remember, you cannot go wrong. Superhero duo, Adam.
Oh my goodness. Superhero duo. I can't even think of one. Batman and Robin.
That works. Max.
That'll age me.
that was the first one I thought of, and then for some reason I thought of Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, who are
That
not
works.
superheroes, but what a great duo.
Duo. Hey, keep that mind thinking because we're gonna get there. Favorite sports duo, dinking over to Max.
Can I say Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson from the Denver Nuggets?
You
Back in the day?
can. You
That was an
can. That's a
exciting time
heck
for
of a
us.
pull.
That was an exciting time for us.
And coming
It
from
was.
my,
That was a great time
since
in Nugget history.
So being a tennis guy since I was 9 years old until I've become all about pickleball, I would have to say it was the Bryan brothers doubles duo.
Solid pull. Very solid pull. Nice call by the Bryan brothers. Okay. Now, you might have to reach deep into your youth for a cartoon duo. Who wants to go first?
My parents didn't allow me to watch cartoons. No,
It's an easy way in.
I know I'm too old to remember.
I wasn't allowed to either, but I always enjoyed the dynamic between the Roadrunner and the Coyote. I don't know if they're considered a duo so much as considered mortal nemesis, but
in that respect, they are a cartoon duo because they were always together. You can't have the Roadrunner without Coyote, right?
for sure.
All
So
right,
no,
how about Popeye and Wimpy? I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Hamburger today. Perfect. See, we wait for a minute and we get gold. Like a fine wine, he just gets better as we wait a little bit. How about a food duo? What kind of foods do you like to pair together?
Ooh, I like that. Green chilies and anything. Chicken and green chilies.
Yeah, I mean, right now, ketchup and French fries sounds really good. Like, I almost won't eat French fries without ketchup. So, that's a critical pairing for me.
I like it.
I agree with Max on that. I don't want to eat a French fry unless there's ketchup nearby.
I probably wouldn't either. Do you like pears?
Pears? Like the fruit?
Yeah, like a pear.
Absolutely.
You do? All right.
Yeah.
They taste kind of
Yeah.
gritty. If I could get the taste
I was
of a
gonna say-
pear to be on my pickleball paddle, we might have something like super wicked on the court.
Oh, there you go.
I see that. It's a brain bend right there.
You're on Pickle with Mickle, buddy. You got to keep up. Favorite movie sequel?
Ooh, Iron Man 2.
Nice. Max,
Can I be super millennial and say like American Pie too?
come on. You go, we go. You go, we go. You can always bring it up American Pie movie. Come on. I hope that was from the second one too. It was, right? All right. Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni for sure.
At least you didn't say pineapple. Everything just would have gone dark like the end of The Sopranos.
Straight to jail.
Would you swim with sharks?
No.
No.
That's a big no over there.
I own timeshare in Maui, and that's my favorite place in the entire world. And I won't go past knee deep in the water because of my fear of sharks. I was a kid when Jaws came out.
I was about to say, you had to have been a kid when Jaws came out. My uncle, same way. And I mean, to this day, that movie was so good and did such a good job of scaring us about sharks. I'm not saying I'm going to swim with the sharks either, but I just want to know what you would do.
Absolutely. We had a swimming pool at my house growing up. And after I saw that movie, I was afraid to get in our swimming pool for a little while.
Have you ever had, now you spent most of your life in Colorado, Adam?
A little over half of it.
Okay. Max, where are you primarily from? Colorado area?
I've been in Colorado since 2008. I've been all over before that.
Have we ever had any animal encounters?
Yes.
Talk to me.
I've had 2 close encounters with bears that were pretty frightening.
Was this just out on trails? Did you have bells, pepper spray? Bring us in to this bear encounter.
Sure, I'm up at the ski area at Copper Mountain, and where I have a condo, and I had a 17-year-old Cocker Spaniel who was pretty much deaf by that point, and we went out for the last little pit stop for the evening, and she must have smelled the bear and ran across the parking lot to the dumpster, and I couldn't call her because she wouldn't come because she couldn't hear me, so I had to walk over there to get her and surprised the bear in the dumpster that hopped out and was about as close to us as my computer laptop screen is to me right now.
Gosh.
And probably not very happy that his meal was interrupted. And I had to grab the dog and slowly back up. And fortunately, the bear turned and went the other way. Yeah, that was frightening.
My gosh. Max, what about you? Can't top
Well,
that. Not even
I
Riley
know
Newman
I
could
can't.
top that.
Riley's gonna get this reputation as a one-upper, and again, he was such a nice guy. I'm sorry, Riley. My closest has been with like elk and moose, just large animals that you see them, and you're either going back the other way on the trail or giving them a super wide berth, just because they're not as aggressively threatening. Let's say like as a bear coming out of a trash can, so to speak. But obviously, you don't want to upset them or get anywhere near their youth because they'll run right over you.
Yeah. And they're massive.
Surprising how quickly those large animals move. Yeah, it is.
Awesome stuff. All right, here's the last one for you. And there's already two of you. And so we're probably looking just for two people. Who's coming to Pickle? The two of you, you got two guests coming to play some pickleball. It's kind of like that. Who's coming to dinner, but who's coming to Pickle?
I would like to play with Andre Agassi.
And?
Oh, I thought we were each naming one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll round out our fourth with Jamie Foxx. I think that would be I think he'd complement Andre well as well.
That'd be a blast.
So Andre and Jamie get to play against you two. We're not going to mix it up, or we play like a little round robin and get to mix it up. Everybody play with each other.
I think some best of threes. Best of threes is traditionally the way those go.
Now, since you brought up Fox, are we hanging at Third Shot Pickleball? Are we going to his pickle plaza over is it in LA or New York where he's got that thing?
I believe that is LA, and we're open to either.
Right.
I feel like Jamie's always trying to get us to come out there, and we're just so busy. So
I'm always
we'd
booked.
love to. If he wants to send another invite our way, we'll make it happen.
I don't know how his people can't find me.
Yeah, it's hiding in plain sight. They're not trying that hard. So
just right here. I mean, Jamie Foxx, Pickle with Mickle. It sounds good. Great times here with both Max and Adam from Third Shot Pickleball. Before we totally wrap it up and I let you get out of here, go ahead and plug anything that's coming up. Soft opening of the new facility again, if you'd like to. I've had a blast here. I hope you have too. Hopefully we run into each other in real person. I'll have to drive up there in the summertime to get out of the heat, for crying out loud. You got to look for Adam too, folks, as this NPL season starts to go. He's going to get the call. He's going to be on a team. I can feel it. Max, you probably got to wait about 20 years before you're ready for the NPL Combine, but that's all right. You got a lot of great things to do there at Third Shot Pickleball, and I really appreciate you both making some time for me today. Go ahead, plug out anything you'd like to. Say hi to the wives. Set up that next match. Set up that.
That's it. Shelby, Pam and I want to
And if Adam gets an NPL, I might be able to land a ball boy job. So you may see both of us on TV. Probably the worst physique for a ball boy, but I'll make it happen.
But as far as plugs, Mick, I think we're back to where we started. We're incredibly excited and pleased that we won for the second consecutive year best place to play pickleball in Denver, in the Denver Front Range area, and we're really excited about our soon to open Zionsville, Carmel, Indiana club and the lease that we just signed for our newest location here in Denver. That's going to be our largest club that we've built so far.
Incredible. Yeah. Max, anything else?
I'll echo all that. I'm excited about what the existing clubs, in Reno and Evansville and Longmont are doing too. And, just super grateful for the pickleball community everywhere, and especially in Denver for the Reader's Choice votes for all of that. We love pickleball. We love providing pickleball for people, and it's fun to see that recognized, and it's inspiring and encouraging to keep doing it and doing it at a high level for everyone.
Yeah, and one last plug, Mick, and that is, and interestingly, every Wednesday we have our general managers call, and one of the things that's so neat is they are all really collaborative, and Max has really proven to be a leader, in helping our other club operators. But I just want to plug our entire team, because I feel like, every day I thought I was going to be retired by now, and instead I'm deeply involved in growing a pickleball business. And I think what makes me the most excited about that is the group of people that we've assembled, and just how talented and dedicated everyone is. And that's from all of our owner operator champions to our team members at our clubs that are helping support everything and taking good care of our customers. It's a blessing to be surrounded by so many good people.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So much fun here today with Adam and Max from Third Shot Pickleball. I mean, that was a blast. Folks, go to their website, thirdshotpickleball.com. Who is going to be that mystery pro? Catch us on all your favorite pod apps and YouTube at the Mickle Pod and Pickle with Mickle. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated. I'll see y'all next time for more